This is Scott the Rebuilder, episode 2. Topic for today: should I really pull the cable off of my battery to see if my alternator is functioning? No! People have been saying that for decades now, and it used to work really well, and it can still work today, but there are some definite problems that can be encountered. We've got to clear this up. You need a better understanding. Let's start out by discussing the fact that if your alternator is bad, when you reach over and pull the cable off of the battery, nothing bad happens. Your car dies because the alternator is not supplying the energy needed to run it, so the car dies, and you say, well, this is a good test. It proved to me that my alternator is no good, and you're correct. That's with an alternator that is not charging. Let's imagine that your alternator is charging well. Well, let's back up. We've got to go back in history a little bit to understand why this is a no-no today. Alternators came into existence back in the 1960s, and they were pretty small. 37 amps, 55 amps, 63 amps. Not a lot of amperage. It didn't create a big problem. The cars had no electronics. That held true all the way through the 70s, but along came the 80s and your car started to get more complicated, and a computer came into the scene. Fast forward all the way to today. Alternators have become much larger. 200 amps, 220 amps, 240 amps. And cars are loaded with electronics. Think of that dashboard, the computer, all the relays, all of the, you name it, it's in there. Let's imagine now you have a 240 amp alternator that is functioning well. After all, you are trying to determine which one is bad, the battery or the alternator. Let's imagine it is the battery that's bad. That means this alternator is putting out 240 amps. And when you pull the cable, that 240 amps spikes the system. Yeah, we're talking about your computer and your dash and that alternator that was working. Probably not anymore. You're starting to get the picture. There's also plenty of room for misdiagnosis. Let's imagine that your alternator is putting out half. That's quite common. So you pull the cable. Half will continue to run the car, but half won't continue to maintain your battery over time. You buy a new battery. That's not entirely a bad thing. In fact, I think you probably should. They're only meant to last 5 years. New batteries installed. You've sent your significant other to Walmart. The phone rings. Car's dead. You're in trouble. Imagine that. A misdiagnosis. It's quite common for both the battery and the alternator to be bad, because this aged battery that you don't want to replace because you think they last forever has been overworking your alternator for years now. They don't like that one bit. They get hot. The harder you work them, the hotter they get. They fail because of bad batteries. And so you have created a real vicious cycle here by not truly finding out the problem. Yes, this has been going on forever. People have been getting away with this little maneuver. But there are a lot of other things in life that have went on for decades that we've discovered aren't so good. I have an example. It has to do with mushrooms. Where is he going with this? I like to hunt, fish, be outdoors. One beautiful fall day, I came home from grouse hunting, and I had picked a nice bucket full of false morels. Brought them in the house. My wife Jane helped me clean them up. The two of us together fried them up, and I had a beautiful plate of fried false morels along with 2 beers, just like I'd done for decades. I proceeded to throw up for 3 days straight. We went online and started asking questions. Why? The answer was, you used to be able to eat false morels. We thought it was okay, but we've learned through time that there are toxins there that will build up in your system, and eventually you'll eat them and become deathly sick. I am definite proof that that is wise and good, truthful information. Do not eat false morels. I got busy, called all my friends because I knew many who eat false morels. One in particular looked me in the eye and he said, I don't care. I like false morels. They're delicious. I'm going to continue to eat them. I don't care what you say. His choice. If you're going to continue this maneuver, pull the cable off while the car is running to see if your charging system is working, you're asking for trouble. Just remember, this ugly mug is going to be looking right over your shoulder when you're out buying a brand new computer. You may have just destroyed your alternator that was working. And worse yet, you may go out and buy a new alternator because now you do need one. You've not changed your battery because you're sure it's fine. So now we're back to where we were, a good functioning alternator, a bad battery, and you decide, well, I better see if this new alternator works. I'm going to try the same thing. Boom! This nice fresh alternator with all new components wiped out. Do you see the point? Please, this used to be okay. It's not anymore. You know the drill. This is Scott the Rebuilder. Hit the subscribe button, ring the bell. That's all I get from this.